When people think about the will of God for them in their marriage, there's usually a general misconception that God might end up giving you someone you don't desire or that's very different from your ideal Mr. or Mrs. Right. However, this cannot be far from the truth. God wants wholesome marriage for you where you enjoy peace, love, and experience passion, the type that cannot be had outside of marriage. And one of those signs that your marriage will be passionate is that you are attracted to your partner. Attraction is not carnal unless the basis of your attraction is faulty. There has to be something that draws you to your spouse and makes you want to be with them above all other people. It differs for many people and even the two individuals involved, but its presence or absence can say a lot about the marriage. We see a lot of people getting married to someone to whom they're not attracted out of desperation because they felt that person is the will of God for them. Eventually, that kind of person suffers in marriage because there is no form of spark or that element that makes them want to be with that person. Except it is eventually worked on, it would be passionless marriage, one that is being held together out of a sense of duty rather than genuine love for each other. Believe me, nobody wants to experience that. Yet it's quite rampant these days, all in the name of marrying God's will. Signs are a prediction of things to come and should not be ignored. Whatever is obtainable in your relationship or courtship currently will only be amplified in your marriage. If there's no attraction between yourself and your partner at the moment, it might be difficult to develop a passion for each other or the marriage later on. So there has to be some kind of attraction, and this is something that can serve as a basis for your passion. The fact that you're attracted to that fellow is a really good thing, and you can look forward to a great union. Number 2, instinctive love or chemistry. What's passion without love? The passion you have for an individual is closely tied to the level of love you have towards them. Gone are the days when people are forced into marriage with someone they don't know or love. At this age, you have to be able to decide whether you love someone enough to be in a relationship with them or take the bold step of getting married. Another important sign that you will have a passionate marriage with that individual is that you will have a great love for that person and vice versa. While the words, "I love you," might have been abused such that it's difficult to tell if a person means what they're saying, there are other things that you love an individual or that they love you. For instance, love involves making sacrifices and giving up certain things for the one you claim to be in love with. It also involves forgiving and having the best interests at heart. If you truly love that individual and the feeling is mutual, then you can say that God will give you a passionate marriage. Sometimes this feeling can be on an instinctive level. For instance, Rebecca was willing to marry Isaac without having met him, and Isaac loved her the moment he saw her. They went on to have a beautiful life together. In essence, whoever you're going to marry should be someone you love and are willing to make sacrifices for. That way, you will have a marriage full of passion and love. Number 3, commitment. Whether or not we like to hear it, the truth is that a time will come in your relationship or marriage where things will wane and things will not be as they used to. One thing that can preserve one's relationship or signify that a marriage will be passionate is that both you and your partner are committed to each other and the relationship. Your commitment says a lot about your passion, as this is something that works hand in hand. You can only be committed to something you're passionate about, and your passion is also something that compels you to be committed as well. These are signs that you should watch out for early on in the relationship. Is it something that you're into just for trial and error, or are you both ready to go all the way? Are there signs of seriousness? Does your partner show any concern for your life and growth? Are they committed to seeing things work? If you answered in the affirmative, you can look forward to having a marriage full of life and passion. Moreover, commitment means that you are both invested in each other. It shows interest, and that will fuel the passion that makes for a sweet marriage. It's very popular in the world today to find people who are just in a relationship for the sake of public appearance, or just so they don't get left out among their peers. They have no ambitions or plans for the relationship and just go with the flow. That nonchalant attitude towards a relationship is not a good sign at all. If taken to marriage, it can be disastrous. There's every likelihood that a divorce lies in the future of such couples. With God, commitment is such a big deal, and that is why it's important to be sure before stepping into that phase. Once you are in, it should be a forever thing, because God hates divorce. And the fact that you are married or have put on a ring does not signify that you and your partner would suddenly become committed to each other. It is something that should have been developed or started right from the days of dating or courtship. So take a good look at your relationship and do your analysis well. Are there signs of commitment or not? Because it's an indication that God will give you a passionate marriage with that individual. Number 4, deep connection. The best relationships are those that are shared by people who are strongly connected. They know each other on a soul level and can sense things about the other person without even being told. This strengthens their bond and makes them even more passionate about each other. While it is possible to become instinctively connected to someone, especially one who's your soulmate, connections are mostly built or created over time. It does not happen automatically and requires commitment, love, loyalty, a vested interest, and so many things before such a connection can be built. Only couples that have been together for so long and share so many things in common have such a kind of connection, but it can also be noticed even at the early stages of a relationship. The person you're going to marry and spend a lifetime with is someone with whom you can relate on the same frequency. That means you'll be able to speak one language and your thoughts will be in the same direction. It means you're interested in the same or similar things and can join forces to achieve certain accomplishments. This is a sign that your marriage will be a passionate one. In the scriptures, we have examples of great marriages as well as those that are mismatched. Jacob was a shepherd and so was Rachel. Although he might have been attracted to her beauty and other characteristics, their shared profession was another point through which they could connect, and you can tell that they had a passionate marriage based on the love Jacob had for Rachel, even though Leah bore him more sons. On the other hand, we see Abigail and Nabal, who were not fit to be with each other because they did not relate on the same level. While Abigail was a wise woman, Nabal was described as a fool, and that he would have affected their marriage one way or the other. To know if your relationship with that person will be passionate, one thing is that God will give you a point of connection, a very strong one at that. It could be a faith, assignment, or a shared interest that will then translate to your hearts being connected. And that will be the basis for the passion you experience in your marriage. Number 5, strong desire. The place of desire in any relationship cannot be neglected. According to the Bible, the desire of a woman will be to her husband. For you to have a great marriage, there should be a desire to be with the person, to want to know them better, to relate with them on a deeper level, and to share life. If the desire is not there, it'll be a loveless marriage, just lukewarm with no sparks or life that makes marriage interesting. Many of these signs are tied together, and the absence of one can mean the absence of the other. For instance, there is no initial attraction. There will be no basis for love. And if there is no love, the desire will be absent, which will eventually affect the passion for each other in the marriage. Does that person to be with you? Or do they find your company appalling? Do they have other interests, or would they rather be elsewhere than with you? When you have a strong desire for that person, and that person feels the same towards you, it'll generate a strong passion that will keep your marriage going for a long time.